today our focus is going to be on what you can do to create an effective and engaging presentation. There's a few simple tricks that you can do that'll help draw your audience in and really help make it more effective. One of the most important things you can do is make eye contact. If you're busy looking at your notes, you have your eyes somewhere else, reading your cards or even your slides, your audience doesn't feel a connection with you. Really what you want to do is look at every single person you can. Even if you kind of gaze about the room and slowly make eye contact with everybody, you make them feel connected to what's happening and what you're saying, and you'll draw them in and make them more eager to pay attention to you. Another really important thing to do is pay attention to your tone of voice. So if you're talking like this in sort of a monotone and there's not a lot of modulation, no big rises or falls, it sounds really stilted, it's really hard for your audience to pay attention to. Instead, what you would like to do is have a little variation in your tone. Make it try to sound natural, like you're actually having a conversation with someone right there with you. If you do this, it makes it seem, again, like the audience is closer to you and that you're speaking to them, not just reading some note cards that you had. And it really helps draw them in. Now, a big important thing is your slides and your visual aids that are a component of this presentation. So a slide like this, it's really cluttered and it's hard on your audience. So if I'm a presenter trying to present the slide, what is the first thing I have to do? I have to turn and look at it to read it, which immediately messes up my eye contact. So I'm going through the slides and I'm talking about, how you don't want to have too much information because it's hard for your readers to visually get in front of the presentation and be a part of it. But it also negates the whole purpose for you giving that presentation. If you have everything you're saying right here on this slide, why do they even need to bother to pay attention to you? They could just watch your PowerPoint later, right? So you sort of undermine your own presence in that very room. So what you want to do instead is make sure that your slides, all the visuals that you have, are short and concise and to the point. You want it to be something that enhances your presentation. It's not the entire presentation in itself. So that means you have to be really selective. Some good ideas are just to pick like key vocabulary, maybe a short phrase that sums up what you're covering, or even a quote that supports what you're doing. But be really careful about what you decide to put on these slides. One of the most important things you can do is practice what you're going to say. And this means not just practicing it in your head, but actually saying it out loud. You'll be surprised at how much it helps to actually say things a couple of times before you go in front of an audience. Because sometimes you think you have an idea in your head of how it's going to go, and until you actually say it out loud, you realize that you didn't know where you were going with the point you were trying to make. So if you practice, you'll sound a lot more confident, and that'll convey in your tone too. So practicing actually helps with the tone category. Practicing also helps with your eye contact as well. Because if you're spending the whole time looking down at your notes because you didn't practice and you don't know what you're going to say, your audience is already disengaged. So doing a couple practice rounds of it can really help make sure the eye contact's there, the tone's there, and you sound more confident and sure of yourself when you go to speak to the audience. Also, you shouldn't just practice out loud to an empty room. Right before the day where we go live with this project, you probably want to practice to anyone you can find. So if that means starting out with like your cat or dog and giving your speech to them, it's a good step. Maybe you could get your sister, your grandpa, anyone who would be willing to listen to you give it at least once. It's a short enough presentation, I think you could find someone, and it's really going to help you when you get in front of the whole class to be more confident in what you're saying because you've actually said it before. So hopefully you follow these few simple tips to make your presentation more engaging for the rest of us out there. Feel free to watch this as many times as you need to in order to get it right. And now if you could go ahead and click on the link below this one to take our Google quiz, you are ready to go. And I look forward to seeing your presentations.